I want to do this little mini lesson to help you guys create your own shortcut on this. So we all should be able to look at this 2/3 to the negative 2 power. And what could we do? We could distribute the outside exponent to the inside, right? That's rule 3. When you have parentheses with an exponent on the outside, you could distribute it to each and every term on the inside. And remember, power to a power, you multiply. So what you could do is distribute right there, and you're going to end up with a 2 to the negative 2 over 3 to the negative 2. Are you with me? Now, after that, I need to use rule, Rule 6, which says when you have a negative exponent, you have to move them to the other side and they become positive. So you need to move this 2 to the negative 2 down to the bottom and it'll become 2 to the positive 2. You need to take this 3 to the negative 2, move it up, and it'll become 3 to the positive 2. So that's what we end up with, guys. We end up with 3 to the positive 2 over 2 to the positive 2. And then at the very end, you could do your math. 3 squared is 9, and 2 squared is 4. So your answer is 9/4. You guys understand that, right? Yeah. Now, after doing this over and over and over, you're going to see a little trick. Let me rewrite it. So there's a work for the first one. Let me rewrite the same problem, 2/3 to the negative 2 power. And the trick is this. Since you know that you're going to be distributing and then flipping, you could actually flip first and then distribute. So what you could do is when you have a negative exponent on the outside of the parenthesis and a fraction on the inside, if you want, you could actually flip the inside fraction. You could take the 2 and the 3 and flip it and make that a positive 2. So it's like a shortcut. It's like a trick. Check it out. I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to rewrite it. But instead of 2 over 3, I'm going to put 3 over 2. And instead of negative 2, it's going to be positive 2 now. So it's a little trick. So I really have 3 halves squared. And of course, I'm still going to distribute. Put it on there, 3 squared, 2 squared. Still gives you 9/4. See the shortcut? Okay, so check this one out. So on this one, we have an outside negative exponent. Now you could distribute it first, and then since you're going to have negative exponents, you're going to have to flip everything, right? Or you could take this fraction and flip it first, and then distribute. So you could just say, oh, this negative 3, I'm going to make it a positive 3, but I need to flip the inside. Okay? So if I do flip the inside and the outside exponent will become positive 3, I'll end up with a y squared over x, which I know when I distribute right there and right there, I'll end up with a y to the 6th over x to the 3rd. Now, if you don't believe me that that actually works, let's do it the regular way. Let me rewrite this. So here's my problem rewritten. And let me distribute first the way we normally would. Put the negative 3 on the x, put the negative 3 right there with the 2, you have to multiply it. You'll end up with x to the negative 3 over y to the negative 6. And then you have to take those negative exponents and move them to the other side to make them positive. You'll end up with y to the 6th over x to the positive 3. As you can see, it's the same exact answer, y to the 6th over x to the positive 3. So it's a little trick. You don't have to use this trick, but you could use the trick to flip it before distributing. So if you know this trick of flipping before distributing, what's your answer going to be? You could actually do this in your head. What's your answer here? 1/2 to the negative 3 power.
2/3 over 1.
Final answer would be 8. 8. Check it out. Again, the trick. Flip it, change the sign. You'll have 2 over 1, which is just 2, to the 3rd power. That's just 8. Now, if you don't, let me rewrite it. Let me rewrite the whole thing. 1/2 to the negative 3 power. Okay, you're going to have to distribute the negative 3 right there, negative 3 right there. You're going to end up with 1 to the negative 3 over 2 to the negative 3. And then you have to take those negative exponents, move them to the other side. They'll become positive. You have 2 to the positive 3 over 1 to the positive 3. And we know that 2 to the positive 3 is 8, and 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, which means that the answer is still 8. So it's the same. If you don't want to do this trick, don't use the trick, right? But it's a little trick that could be applied to make it a little bit easier for you. Right here, it's a 1/2 to the negative 3. Change the sign, flip the fraction. It becomes 2 to the third. 2 to the third is 8. But of course, you could go back to what we've always done. Distribute, move negative exponents, simplify, answer's 8. I hope this kind of helps, right? To make it a little bit shorter, save a couple of seconds when you're doing some work. Now, I wouldn't always flip though. Check this out. So right here, yes, you could flip the inside fraction, but then again, you do have a negative in here. So you might want to distribute. Right here, it's probably better to distribute. Either way, there's many roads to the same place. When you distribute, you'll end up with x to the negative 4, and down here, you're going to end up with y to the what? Positive 6. That's right, positive 6, right? So now the only thing you need to move is the x. So your final answer is nothing on top. You have to put a 1 up there. X to the 4th on the bottom, y to the positive 6 on the bottom as well. That's your final answer for that one. Okay? So the trick will work sometimes. It'll always work. But if you have a negative on the inside, don't flip it. You might as well distribute it because that negative times negative becomes positive.